California llora ni kibinya 2006 kubinya ni kibira sara chachong presa va subi jaga chong campo takundi ni neka va kubinya shini usira onya ni kanne kibi chachong ira sara ni chavina vina yuchi shaman tasamanya kakha va machina chavina kakha vira sara.
Box theft is when a worker harvests and packs a certain amount of boxes and the employer is not paying for all those boxes.
The agricultural industry also has a mostly Spanish-speaking or indigenous-speaking population, and employers think that they are probably not going to speak out if their rights are violated.
Se sintieron pues discriminados por esa situación de que son hablantes de una lengua indígena. Eso fue lo que los motivó a ellos a seguir adelante, es que no querían que eso pasara con otros trabajadores que le dicen el súper. Él incluso les contestaba mal y decía que ellos no sabían contar bien, por eso es que no miraban bien el talón, que tienen que revisarlo, que todo está ahí.
Unfortunately, at the time, because of our funding restrictions, CRLA couldn't represent all of the workers. A lot of organizations require citizenship or legal permanent residence requirements and can't always support undocumented workers.
As part of discovery, we requested a list of all the workers who had been employed at this company between January and May of 2022, and we discovered that there had been more than 600 workers employed at this company who had suffered some labor violation while employed there.
At the beginning of the case, the biggest legal hurdle was trying to figure out who the employer was. When we initially filed the claim, we filed it against 7th Tree and Driscoll's. The hard part about that is that Driscoll's considers itself a marketer and not an employer.
This is a common practice that we see in the agricultural industry where there are layers of subcontracting, sometimes in an effort to avoid liabilities. Oftentimes, these smaller, lower-level contractors are undercapitalized, and so it can be really hard to recover wages against some of those lower-level subcontractors.
Agriculture workers and undocumented workers in general consistently get their cases devalued. A lot of the employers insist that because of the work that they're doing, perhaps because of not having legal status, they can offer pennies and that worker will take it. Because what other option do they have?
The defendants decided to depose one of our plaintiffs. Our plaintiff did an amazing job. They pointed out mistakes. They pointed out very clearly days that they hadn't been paid. And I think after that deposition, the defendants realized that it was probably in their best interest to settle the case.
Sananda tashi kami neka yuji nya shabi kemboni ya sara dirakana taking mande kachina ni chabe na yuji sara taking vi ani shani ya kembora taking vi anya kan wa awatu yo.
The impact that the 7th Tree case has had has been huge. In 2022, we were seeing box theft cases left and right. And thankfully, with Legal Aid at Work's help, their support, their resources, their expertise, we were able to push this case forward and get a settlement, but also get affirmative relief that had resounding impacts. I don't see box theft cases now in 2026 like I did 4 or 5 years ago when we originally filed the case.
I think Legal Aid is in a unique position to take on difficult cases and to represent workers who have nowhere else to turn to and take on the cases that are going to have systemic change beyond just that one workplace throughout California.